are you ready to talk about this movie?
I am ready.
We just watched Throw Mama from the Train for our Hate Us number 3 donation on Patreon.
Yeah. I had never even heard of this movie until it was demanded that we watch this.
I had seen this before. Did not remember
really?
it. Yeah, did not remember it very well going into it. Not a fan.
Okay.
Not my favorite movie.
Fan.
No, ooh, this was rough.
I didn't think it was that bad. And I think that's just because Danny DeVito.
Yeah. So Danny DeVito was the only part I liked about this movie.
Well, I didn't think Billy Crystal was bad either.
Oh, Billy Crystal was exhausting.
Well, I think he's an exhausting personality.
Yeah, I agree.
It was hard for me to watch and not just see Mike Wazowski the whole time.
Billy Crystal's kind of like a life version of Mike Wazowski.
Yeah, he pretty much is Mike Wazowski.
If they were going to make a live action monsters movie, I would pick him. It would be like twins. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito in Monsters, Inc. live action. But anyways, back to Throw Mama from the Train. What is the plot of this movie?
A real rough plot is Billy Crystal is a writer who has his book stolen by his ex-wife. So he has a deep hate. Sorry, go on.
Sorry. When he says stolen, it was just the idea, right? It wasn't she didn't go and just take his book and publish it. She ran with an idea he had. That was
it's kind of unclear, I think.
Yeah.
I took it as she stole his manuscript.
That's how I thought at first, but I think it was just the idea. Cause in the final scene, or one of the final scenes, where Danny DeVito's oh, I wrote a book about our experience, and Billy Crystal almost murders him. I felt like it was, that's all that happened. They shared an experience or an idea and had an idea together, and she wrote about it.
Yeah, I mean, that could be it. I don't know. I don't feel like they go into enough detail about it, but basically she's become famous for it and he sucks.
Yeah.
And so he hates her and he would like her to be dead.
Now, excuse my language, but he calls her a slut so many times. It was disturbing.
Yeah, it was. I was trying to think if okay, cause this was 80s, right? This movie, 86 or 87. So did it have a different meaning then? Cause I didn't see how it worked in the situation.
It was, it was
it was very weird.
Yeah, cause she stole his book, right? She didn't cheat on him. She stole his book or stole his idea. So it was every time he did it, it was oh, this is uncomfortable. I do not like this. I don't know. It was very strange.
Yeah, so basically that's half the story. The other half is Danny DeVito lives with his mom, who is just horrible. She's verbally abusive to him, and he would like her to die. He fantasizes about killing her.
Many times.
Oh yes, multiple times. Basically, Danny DeVito inadvertently thinks Billy Crystal is saying that they could kill each other or kill the other for each other.
Yeah. So Billy Crystal is Danny DeVito's writing teacher at a junior college. Yes.
And Danny DeVito's not a good writer.
No. And he borderline special needs, right?
I think that he is special needs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It never says, but he's not, he doesn't think clear. He doesn't process things right, and I don't know.
No, he's definitely for sure a dum-dum.
Yeah.
But there was a scene towards the end where
my problem is you wouldn't call someone with special needs a dum-dum.
No, Danny DeVito is at least a dum-dum.
At least, okay, yeah. It's just a weird.
I will say this, he is either special needs or a dum-dum.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha.
Now, yeah, the reason I think he could be special needs is because there's a scene closer to the end where Billy Crystal gets knocked out somehow, and he like passes out on the floor, and then he wakes up, and Danny DeVito is just outside sitting on the porch playing with like a train set.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things where he
with the coin collection.
With the coin collection that, represented his dad. Like, he was just very childlike.
Yeah, he was definitely childlike.
And so Danny DeVito wanted, Billy Crystal to read his story and get feedback on it. And Billy Crystal read it and was like, it's not good. You wrote a 3-page mystery novel.
It was 3-page murder mystery.
Which, again, this was a class, right? And so, like, how long did he want them to write novels? That seemed weird to me.
I don't know. But that other dude had a full coffee table book.
That was so weird. I love that made me laugh. Cause
that was funny.
It was his, what do you call it? The women I want to shag? No, not shag.
Pork.
Women I want to pork. And it was, were there pictures? It was just a list of names, right? Like, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was just a list of, each chapter was the name of a woman.
Yeah.
And that was it. But basically he said, look, like going forward, like I can have pictures and like a summary of each person. But my favorite part that actually, it was funny. So
the funny part of that was that just the idea of him calling it a coffee table book. Like,
yeah, right? Like you have all the different kinds of books. This is a coffee table book.
Yeah.
I like that there was another guy in the class who was like really defending that book. He's like, I think it's a good idea. But the funny part that ties back into that was a few scenes later when Billy Crystal is sitting at the table, which I don't even know where they're at, but he's with the girl Beth.
Uh-huh.
And his students are sitting at another table.
Yeah.
And they're talking, and Billy Crystal kind of introduces them, and the guy's like, he's like, hey, what's her name?
Yeah.
She says her name, and then the guy like goes to write it down or something, and Billy Crystal's like, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Like he was going to add her to the book.
Well, I thought that was funny until Billy Crystal said that. Like, I feel like
no, I thought it was funny.
I just don't like Billy Crystal. I think is the problem.
I'm not saying Billy Crystal is what made that funny. I just thought that scene was.
But I felt like Billy Crystal ruined that joke for me.
It was okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so Danny DeVito wants advice on his book. The man, he needed help with motivation because, the man with the hat killing the other man with the hat was not enough motivation to warrant a murder. And so Billy Crystal is talking to him in, like in theory of like, okay, so why would you want to murder someone? What would be a reason? Why?
Well, I thought the reason the story was bad was because it was too obvious who the killer was because he had motive.
Well, no, because there's only two characters.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that part. Cause he was basically saying the reason people get caught is because they have motive. You gotta have someone who has no motive.
Yes.
And he convinces him to go see, it was Alfred Hitchcock movie, right?
Yeah.
Where basically it's that movie is this movie.
Yes, where I don't know, I don't even know what movie that was.
They crossover. What was it
Criss
that he
Cross.
called it? Crisscross, that's right.
So Danny DeVito thinks that Billy Crystal was speaking to him in code by talking about how he wants his wife dead, which he said multiple times, which
out loud.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Sure.
You can't just shout that.
Also now because she's famous, it's even probably riskier.
And, so Danny DeVito decides, okay, I'll go murder your wife. You murder my mom. And he goes and murders her off a boat, pushes her into the ocean, is what we're led to believe.
Side note here. Have you watched the show Orange is the New Black?
Yes.
Did you know that she's in that?
No.
She is the Russian woman, Red.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I couldn't pinpoint. I could see it in her face. I was like, this is someone that I know, and I can't quite place it. And I went and looked. I was like, oh, that's her.
That is not anyone I would have ever guessed.
Yeah, I know. Me either. It's crazy.
I would have said Piper before I said Red.
Yes, Piper. Was probably like 14 at this time.
Probably younger than that.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, so Danny DeVito kills Billy Crystal's wife, goes back and is like, hey, I need you to kill my mom now. And this is
part of the deal.
A big problem I had with the movie was his ex-wife dies in Hawaii. He is in California, I believe.
Yes. I thought it was like Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if they even ever say.
Billy Crystal starts freaking out, which is legitimate because he thinks Danny DeVito killed his ex-wife and he thinks that it's his fault. But my issue is he starts freaking out and trying to cover it up, which, okay, that's fine if that's what you want to do. But that the police would break into his house or have the landlord open up his house and start investigating his house right away. Like that one was like, oh, that's too quick. There's no, she was missing on a boat. He wasn't on the boat. So there'd be no reason to think that he murdered her on the boat. You can't just like sneak onto a boat. Like there's,
Danny DeVito did.
But they knew he was on the boat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
okay.
They should have been investigating the boat, right? And like, hey, was her ex-husband on this boat? And they're like, nope.
Oh, no, for sure. They should have ruled out every person on that boat.
Yes. That's
and also, who's to say why immediately jump to murder? Who says she didn't just fall off? Because she almost did fall off by herself.
Well, she did. She did just fall off.
Okay, so I thought that was a little unclear. I wasn't sure if maybe he still kind of gave her a nudge and she thought that she had fallen off.
Yeah, I guess it didn't. So Billy Crystal's character comes to the conclusion Danny DeVito did nothing. And I think that's what you're supposed to take away. That Danny DeVito actually didn't do anything. She just slipped and fell into the water. But there's you don't know for sure. Because, spoiler alert, she survives. She didn't die.
She shows up days later.
Yeah.
With a new husband.
But, so Billy Crystal is panicking, freaking out, trying to cover everything up, and goes into hiding. Ends up living with Danny DeVito and his mom.
For like a day or 2 days.
Yeah. And, Danny DeVito is trying to convince Billy Crystal the whole time to murder his mom.
Yeah, and so here's the thing I had about that was all the different ways Danny DeVito was trying to set up like Billy Crystal to kill the mom was to make it look like an accident, right?
Yes.
So why not just do that yourself? If it's going to look like an accident.
Yeah.
If she's going to fall down the stairs or die in her sleep, that doesn't have to be a different person for it to be an accident.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get that either. And it's another problem with this movie is that intentional? Is it intentionally a bad plan because Danny DeVito's character isn't very smart? Or
I think so.
But that's what I mean. Like they didn't make that clear. They didn't like make it clear like, oh, these are just bad plans because he's a bad thinker. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like Billy Crystal took everything too legitimately is part of the issue. He took everything Danny DeVito was doing as a person who is thinking clearly.
Well, I think he every single time he would go through a moment of panic where he's like, okay, no, I'm not going to do this. This is stupid, blah, blah, blah. I got to get out of here, this and that. And then like panics and then ends up just doing whatever Danny DeVito's plan was. Like he had no other option.
Yeah, but I mean like, even just talking to Danny DeVito, there's never a moment where he seems like, oh, this guy is crazy. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. This guy isn't very smart. You know what I mean? Like he just seems like, annoyed by him at most. Like, oh, this guy won't leave me alone. And
right.
they get over, they like try to kill each other, try to kill the mom, almost kill the mom, almost kill, there's like so much stuff going on. And at the end of the movie, they meet back up and they're like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you so long, you big goof. Like.
Yeah, like they're best buds.
Yeah. And it's just,
many different things I thought were going to happen in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, when all this stuff was happening, I thought Danny DeVito is smarter than we think.
Yeah.
And he's setting Billy Crystal up for the murder.
It's going to be like the Unusual Suspects.
Yeah, he has no intention of Billy Crystal getting away with the murder. He's like trying to get him caught.
Yeah.
And that's why he's leaving and then the cops are showing up and everything is going wrong. Like, it was intentionally a bad plan to get Billy Crystal caught.
Yeah.
And the reason I thought that was because, so when Billy Crystal is like panicking and trying to think, okay, there's no way I could have gone from Hawaii to here, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're fine, dude, because obviously if you did, you would have to fly, right? They can check all that. But then Danny DeVito had a plane ticket in Billy Crystal's name.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I don't remember that
he
part.
found it. He was Danny DeVito left and Billy Crystal was like looking through Danny DeVito's things for like evidence that Danny DeVito killed the ex-wife, right? He's like trying to find something. And he found a plane ticket. He's like, oh, perfect. But it had Billy Crystal's name on it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't
So I was
remember
like,
that part.
but there was that plus the fact that Danny DeVito had kept the earring and given it to Billy Crystal, which would essentially could place Billy Crystal at the scene.
Yeah.
I was like, he's setting him up for this murder, but then it didn't go that way.
Well, I think this is a different movie turned into a comedy. I don't think this was ever supposed to be a comedy.
Really?
Yeah. I think Danny DeVito was perfect for the role. They should have changed out Billy Crystal and the mom. The mom was so annoying. I couldn't understand half the things she was saying. And it was like, why would you do this? Why would you pick a choice to have an impossible character understand? Like, I know you want her to be annoying, but like, you couldn't follow anything she was saying. You couldn't understand her. And it was like nails on a chalkboard. It
was really bad.
I
will say though, my favorite line in the whole movie did come from the mom. So Danny DeVito makes a comment about his mom's health being not good, like she has a pacemaker or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And basically all it would take is like a good scare and that might kill her, right? So there's a scene where she's like sitting in a chair sleeping and Danny DeVito sneaks up on her and blows the trumpet in her ears.
Yeah.
And so he like just blows it for like 10 seconds, it feels like, real loud. She wakes up yelling. Basically, all she says, it's like, I had a dream that Louis Armstrong is trying to kill me.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
This movie had a couple like genuinely funny moments or lines, but it could have been, if this would have been a drama, if they weren't trying to be so cheesy and like you just have a straight actor, not like straight as in like, just the character, not a goofy character.
No, I got
who is, genuinely trying to help out this guy with, the story. The guy takes it wrong, goes and tries to murder his ex-wife. Yes. You just actually murder his ex-wife. I think that should have happened. Kill her. Now
that definitely should have happened.
And then the other guy's like, all right, now you owe me. You need to kill my mom or whatever. And like make it some more of like a psychological thriller almost.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say then they could have made Danny DeVito like crazier, right? Where Billy Crystal was like afraid of not killing this guy's mom because of what Danny DeVito will do.
Yeah. Yeah. It just could have been, I don't know. I just feel like there's such a better movie inside this idea, but they wanted it. I think it's just kind of a product of the time, like.
Yeah, it could be. Well, do you know who the director of this movie was?
No.
Danny DeVito.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, that's weird, because I thought he did the best. I thought his character felt out of place with everyone else. And
well, yeah, he directed himself to look the best. This was an audition tape for the future.
Oh, was this his Always Sunny audition tape?
For Always Sunny, yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know what if you were to. I guess we should say how it ends. His wife turns up back alive.
Yes.
Writes a new book on this, right? Or am I wrong about that? No, she sells the rights to her story of being lost at sea.
To her story. Yeah.
For $1.5 million.
Right, which back then is a nice amount of money. I guess that's a nice amount of money now.
Yeah, I wouldn't
a nicer amount of money.
I wouldn't scoff at
like,
1.5 million.
It's chump change, inflation.
But Billy Crystal so he doesn't kill Danny DeVito's mom, almost throws her off a train. He ends up falling off the train, breaks his leg and is in the hospital.
Yes.
Ends up writing a book, his own book. Go ahead.
Well, so he's trying to write a book the whole time, and he can't get past the first line.
Yeah, I had a big problem with that too. They're like, oh, I got writer's block. I can't think of...
So did I. I thought I was like, think of a different line. Like, he couldn't find the right word to describe the night, but just think of something different. It doesn't have to start with that line.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the night is something. Because he was just like,
plus,
the night is humid. No, not humid. The night is moist. Not moist.
Moist.
The night is warm and wet. That's humid. And it was just that for the whole movie. That was the thing he was stuck on. And I was like, that's not really writer's block. Like, it's not, I can't think of a word. I can't think of the perfect word. It's like, you get like, you have an idea, you get halfway through and you're like, I just don't know what to do anymore. I don't know where to go.
That's not writer's block. That's, you're not a good writer.
Yeah. And,
but I did like, go ahead.
I was just going to say, towards the end, the mom is like, oh, the night is sultry. And, Billy Crystal's like, I'm going to kill her. And it was like,
yeah, like that was, he's like, no, she's crossed the line.
He's very protective over writing. He definitely wants to be the best writer in the world.
And he doesn't want suggestions from anybody else.
But, yeah.
I did like, after he fell off the train and was in the hospital, he was in the hospital with that old man. And at one point, Billy Crystal was saying something and the old guy gets up. He's like, I gotta go get something. And then Billy Crystal's like, what are you going to do? He's like, I don't know. I can't be in here with you anymore. You're driving me crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know. I had to leave.
It was nuts, man.
I thought that was, yeah. So another thing that I thought was going to happen and then it didn't was, so now Billy Crystal has cleared up his writer's block and he's written a good book, right?
Yes.
And he's getting ready for it to go out.
And
then Danny DeVito shows up.
Half a paragraph away from finishing.
Half a paragraph.
Yeah.
That's right. So Danny DeVito shows up and is talking. I thought for sure Danny DeVito was going to steal his story then. Just like grab a handful of papers and bail, and then Billy Crystal's just going to be out of luck with someone else having stole his story again.
Yeah, I didn't think that. I thought...
Whoa. You thought Danny DeVito was going to write a pop-up book, and you were right.
Yep, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. I thought it would have been funny if Danny DeVito did publish the whole story. Like if he actually wrote a novel based on their story. I felt like the pop-up book idea, because it ends up being that Danny DeVito got published for writing the pop-up book about their experience. But there was nothing about murder in it. They just have a nice time. And it was like, whoa, this is weird.
Yeah, that was, nothing about that story though. I get that it was innocent and it left out all the criminal parts.
Uh-huh.
But nothing about it was a children's book. Danny DeVito and his friend and, his friend's girlfriend go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Like that and then the end.
Well, it was,
like, what?
It was, Ma, what do you call his mom? Mom?
Mama. So what was Danny DeVito's name? I'm
Mama, Owen, and Owen's friend is what the book was called.
And Owen's friend Larry.
And Owen's friend Larry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, this movie, what is something you would compare it to in your life?
In my life?
Yeah. Like, how we judge these hate us movies?
Yeah, I would say that after being forced to watch Steel Magnolias, I wanted to throw my mom from a train. So I get where he's coming from. That's all I got.
All right. Well, do you have a rating?
I don't have a lot of experiences that compare to anything that Danny DeVito has done.
No, you understand what I'm asking you, right?
I do not.
So when we watched
Clearly.
Silkwood, your example was watching the videos when you get a new job. When we watched Steel Magnolias, our example
it's like
was
watching the
going to the dentist.
Safety orientation.
Getting a root canal was mine.
Right. Okay.
I'm so glad you know what we're doing all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I would compare this probably to.
So I
don't even know.
For me, I think it's like when you're on a bus or on an airplane and you're kind of like the seat is kind of too small and you're sitting next to a person who is kind of too big for their seat as well, and you're both just kind of uncomfortable. Yeah. And you can smell something, but you're not sure if it's yourself or if it's your neighbor. And you feel bad, but you also feel grossed out, but you're not sure which one's right. That feeling of like unsurety and uncomfortableness is this movie to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You're like physically uncomfortable, but also emotionally uncomfortable, and you're a little angry, but you're also kind of guilty because you don't know whose fault it is.
Like, that very well could be my fault.
Yeah.
And then who knows what that other guy's thinking about me.
Yeah. That's this movie. That's the best I could come up with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that was Hate Us, episode number 3. I don't know.
Done it.
I don't know what's going to be next month.
What is your rating for this movie?
Well, that is our rating. That's how we rate these, remember?
Oh. I don't know. This is my first time on the podcast.
Oh, man. It was not good. I did not like it. I was not a fan.
How do you compare it to the other two that we've had to watch?
It's hard because I'm the most angry with this one right now.
Oh, I don't, it's not even that hard. This is, out of the 3, it's the best one.
The best one? Nah, this one, it's kind of similar to how I felt about Silkwood. Is that, there's
missed opportunities.
Yeah, there's a much better movie inside of this, but that they would have the balls to call this a comedy when it was so not funny.
How dare they call this a comedy?
When it was just not funny, you know, like, I don't know. I was just like, oh, this is not good. There was a couple times I laughed, but I would never call this a comedy.
So do you think Billy Crystal is funny? In anything?
I like him. Nope, I don't like him. I was gonna say I like him when Harry Met Sally, but he's annoying in that. It's just a good movie.
I've never even seen that movie.
Really? It's a good.
What do you think about him in Monsters, Inc.?
It's a kid's movie. I don't know. I don't put a lot of.
Yes, that is a fact.
I don't put a lot of effort into breaking down kids' movies. They're designed for a specific thing, and I've seen them over and over to have an objective opinion about any of them. I hate them all, basically.
How do you feel about kids' books, specifically Mama and Owen's friend Larry?
I hate pop-up books because I have little monsters that tear up every single thing they get. So if we have a pop-up book, I just look at it and I'm like, oh, this is only going to last about 3.5 minutes.
It's going to go to being a regular book in just a second.
Well, not even a regular book because half the pictures are gone.
This is going to be the casing of a regular book.
Yeah. Whoever designed pop-up books for kids was an idiot. I'm taking that stand right now.
Pop-up books should just be for adults.
Yeah. They need to be more intricate and more impressive and designed for adults. That's the only logical reason to have a pop-up book. Cause you can't maintain a pop-up book if you are under, let's say, 8. And if you're over 8, you don't want a pop-up book.
Yeah, this is true.
Maybe 8 is a little high, but you get the point.
I've only had
sorry
like
to all the
2
7-year-old
books.
fans out there.
Yeah. And as far as I remember, they like don't work right. Like half the stuff doesn't pop up. You gotta like fold it up yourself. It never works like it's supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah, so down with pop-up books. That's the stand we're taking.
Down with the ups.
But yeah, so we do this because we got a donation over on Patreon, for the hate us category. If you would like to make us watch a terrible movie, you can go over there and vote or donate to the hate us. You can vote for Taylor or I. Whoever has the least amount of votes by the end of November is gonna have to get their legs waxed. How are you feeling about that? You feeling mentally, emotionally prepared for it yet?
No, not even close.
I wish we would have done it this month. I'm like so anxious to have you do it.
Why are you so convinced it's going to be me?
Because you can't even remember how we rate movies on this podcast.
That bears nothing on this. No bearing whatsoever.
We'll see. We'll find out. So we'll see whoever has the least amount of votes by the end of November.
I think that it should be you.
Well, yeah, that's the point of a competition. You want to win.
That's all I got.
But yeah, so if you want to see me have to get my legs waxed, which would be awful, I, again, don't know if I could survive it. Or if you
keep in mind, it would also be a lot funnier. There's no way that it wouldn't be funnier for it to happen to you. The only reason
that's just your perspective. I have the exact same perspective in reverse.
Yeah, but I don't think so. I think deep down, it would be funnier. Like if there were 2 people that weren't you,
yeah,
but they looked like us, I think you would vote for the person who looked like you to get this done. It would be funnier.
Because my legs are hairier?
The fact that
is that what you're saying?
The fact that it is you is the only thing against the you type having to get this done.
I don't know about all that, but, I'm gonna
make it happen, people. Make it happen.
I will agree. I think if it happens to me, it will be funny. But I think if it happens to you,
well, there it is. If it happens to me, it won't be funny.
It'll be funnier.
And
it'll be more enjoyable.
No need to waste your money on something that won't be funny.
Because I know the sounds you make when you get hurt.
Oh, I will be silent.
No way.
Yeah, probably.
There's no way you'd be silent.
I'm almost afraid to see. I've been thinking about. I'm like, okay, maybe there's some people I can talk to that I can convince to go do it. Right now, most of these people probably don't know you, so I'm afraid if I get them involved, they're just going to pick me because they're going to get nothing out of seeing you do it. But
no, you should ask them.
That would be funnier.
Go ask them. I think they would be on your side. Oh. Everyone I know who knows you loves you and wants to see you succeed in everything you try.
I think if it's out of people who know us both equally, I like my chances. I don't know. It's too close to call.
We'll see. We'll see what happens by the end of this month. We got 30 more days. Until one of us is getting their legs waxed.
That sounds awful.
But yeah, so you can find us over on Patreon / I Seen That. You can like us on Facebook, facebook.com / I Seen That, I think.
Yes.
Well, I just couldn't remember if there was something in between the slash and stuff. Or you can find us on Twitter at I Seen That Pod.
That is right. Oh, I wanted to say one more thing before we close. I spoke to one of our fans in person the other day.
Yes.
And I got a ringing endorsement about the podcast. This person.
I'm afraid that it's the one that you told me about before we started recording.
Oh, my mom? No.
Okay.
No, this person says, your podcast is pretty okay.
Wow. What did your mom say?
And I don't remember exactly which episode it was, but she texted me and said, not your best work.
We're all about balance here at I Seen That. We don't want to toot our own horn if we're not willing to. What's the opposite of tooting your own horn? Just being silent?
Hooting your own torn.
Okay. We don't want to toot our own horn if we're not willing to hoot our own torn. Did I just say the same thing twice, or did I say it correctly?
I think you said it correctly.
All right. End.